Save me a rental car.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into the Your Illini Nation pregame show. I'm Marlee Wierda, joining you in studio. Bret Beherns and Jeremy Werner are live inside Memorial Stadium. Andy Olson is outside at a tailgate as we have team coverage ahead of Illinois' second game of the season as they get ready to kick off against University of Texas San Antonio. Of course, they're coming off a big game against Nebraska. First place in the Big Ten West after that win and currently lead the Big Ten there. And they're coming off that game with the hopes of bringing some momentum into this one. It's a 6:40 kickoff on Big Ten Network, the first night game of the season for Illinois. And now we'll turn it over to Bret Beherns and Jeremy Werner inside Memorial Stadium. Guys, I feel like it's a different vibe a little bit today with it being a night game, kind of some like bad weather, so to speak. I don't know if it's raining where you guys are at, but give me a sense of what Memorial Stadium is like right now.
Well, no Jacob Dickey here, meteorologist forecast by any means. No Tom Skilling forecast here, Jeremy. But the rain has stopped, at least for the moment. When we walked in earlier, the rain was coming down. Not any heavy rain, where I don't think it's going to affect the game necessarily. But something to keep an eye on as we continue, and hopefully the rain will clear out. The one thing I do know, Marlee, it's not as hot as last week, Jeremy. The hot weather last week definitely played an impact into that game with the team's depth. Illinois is not going to have to deal with that, or UTSA tonight.
Yeah, this may be just me and me being a half ginger myself, but I don't do well with 95 degrees and heat index over 100 degrees. I'd rather deal with this. High 60s tonight, a little bit of humidity. It's going to be drizzling here. It seems like it's going to clear up here before kickoff, but even if it keeps like this, I think the players would rather play in this. And I think for Illinois, it should be a running game anyway, right? I mean, both these teams want to run the football. It's a little slick down here, but it drains well. So I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on the game.
Oh, we're going to break down some of those players, Sincere McCormick, Frank Harris coming into this, and what threats they pose to Illinois tonight in this game. But just give me a couple quick hits, Jeremy, of something that you look at for Illinois to be successful tonight. They've got to do what to walk out of here with a win? Because nationally, a lot of people aren't believing in Illinois tonight.
Yeah, who's the favorite? Literally, it's Illinois, because
Barely.
They're 4.5-point favorites. But everyone seems to be picking the trendy upset of UTSA. And UTSA does deserve a lot of credit. They are a good Conference USA football team, played really well last year. Didn't play any other Power 5 opponents other than BYU, and they played them pretty competitively. But this is a good program with Jeff Traylor, and they've got a good thing going just a decade in. They run the football extremely well. They have a dual-threat quarterback, and that can be inconsistent as a thrower. Sounds a lot like last week with Nebraska. They had a really good dual-threat quarterback. But Adrian Martinez can make some mistakes. Same thing with Frank Harris at UTSA. Obviously, Sincere McCormick, their running back, is a little bit more successful than the Nebraska running backs. But to be honest with you, I feel like Illinois is maybe not getting enough credit for what they did last week, the improvement they showed, and the talent that they have. So I still think Illinois should be favored to win, and by more than what Vegas has on them. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too much after last week, but I think Illinois should control the trenches. And I think that's where most of these games are won, but they can't make mistakes. They can't let UTSA get confidence early on. That's going to be key for the Big Ten team to avoid the upset.
Well, and I understand why Illini Nation's maybe a little tentative or tense coming into this thing, because you've seen Eastern Michigan come in here in 2019. You've seen PJ Fleck and Western Michigan come in here. Even USF, which was a solid team at that point. And once again, it seems like Illinois catches these group of 5 teams on the upswing.
Louisiana Tech in 2012.
It's the Illinois curse, right? Now, there's a lot of people that have said it would be the most Illinois thing ever to beat Nebraska in the season opener and then come out here and lose to UTSA today. We're going to break it all down, Marlee, but I'm interested to hear what Andy's doing out there in the tailgate.
Yeah, Bret, if he's getting some free food, I'm going to be a little bit jealous of him there. But we'll take a look at Andy Olson in just a second here. But here is the matchup, 6:40 on Big Ten Network. Look like Andy is ready to go. Andy, you getting any food out there? What's the atmosphere like over at the tailgate?
Mar, you better believe I'm getting some food. I'm not coming out to this tailgate and not eating when I'm out here. I'm out here at, some people might recognize the big orange bus out here in the Illinois tailgate lot. I'm joined by Tony Brown, the owner and operator of the big orange and blue bus. Tony, You've been telling me before we went on air, you guys have been doing this for 8 years now, coming out here tailgating in the big bus.
I've been tailgating my whole life, but we're 8 years with the bus now officially. It's been going great, and we're ready to keep going. We want to keep it going as long as we can.
We're just lounging right now because, of course, that's what you do at a tailgate. You got to lounge. We're not. That's right. Back porch right now. We're not up like Bret and Jeremy. But tell me what it was like last year where there was no tailgating. You weren't able to come to these games. How tough was that? And does that make this year's experience that much better, maybe compared even to years past?
It was really unfortunate we couldn't tailgate last year, of course, with COVID. And it shows you how many people are here tonight. Last Saturday when it was 100+ degrees, that everybody wanted to be out here and about. You know, you got the tailgate, you got the different foods, you've got the different varieties of drinks and everything else going on, and the excitement. And we got a full lot again for the second week in a row, and I think we're ready. I mean, it's a great season, and we got a good team, we got a good coach, we're in the right direction, and this is where we're headed. It's a great atmosphere. You just look around, and this is great.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here. We have some guests over here to the side as well. Guys, come here. Give us a wave right now. They wanted to be on the show as well. We're going to get more to everyone out here as well, because I believe you guys have tacos out there, and I think we may have to try those a little bit later.
Yeah, we definitely got a taco menu tonight. We've also got some good food around us. The people straight across here, they've got a whole hog on a smoker, and I think we got the best of both worlds tonight. So I think I'm going to have to do a little sampling of both.
I will definitely have to sample that hog as well. And, I want to ask this as well. You mentioned that Bret Beherns taking over. There's a lot of excitement about the program right now. Does that just do you see that excitement out here at the tailgate lot?
I really do, and I think the attitude of people have changed. Obviously, the crowd is out here. I think we got a lot of enthusiasm and excitement with the new coach. From where we came from before, I think it was a little lax. But right now, the excitement is definitely there, and everybody likes the direction we're going.
All right, guys. Well, I think are going to go get some tacos right now. We're going to see who else I can talk to as well. Guys, come say hi again one more time before we send it back to Marlee. We'll hear from them. We're going to hear from everyone else in the lot behind me. We're having a lot of fun out here. And Marlee, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Let's go get some hog.
Come get some hog, Marlee.
Man, you guys have it good out there with the pig roast. Oh, I'm stuck here in the studio, but at least I'm staying dry over here. A couple quick hitters for tonight's game here, guys. The Roadrunners went 7-5 last season, went to a bowl game. Of course, they did play a full schedule, which was unlike Illinois had last season. And of course, the returning All-American running back, Sincere McCormick, and dual threat quarterback Frank Harris, as Bret and Jeremy had mentioned early. We'll check back in with them at Memorial Stadium in just a second. But first, we're going to hear from the players and, Bret Beherns and defensive coordinator Ryan Walters. They spoke a little bit about not having the element of secrecy this game. Of course, maybe that favors UTSA this game, that they have film on Illinois, but Illinois hasn't seen UTSA play at all this season. It is the Roadrunners' first game of the season. Of course, Illinois playing in that Week 0 matchup. So now the cat is out of the bag for Illinois, and here's what Bret Beherns and defensive coordinator Ryan Walters had to say about that.
I think the element of surprise is always good, right? Like, hit our coaches and I tell our players, right? We're in the information gathering, not the information giving. And I know you guys as media people don't love that, all right? But that's why I'm so entertaining for you folks.
I think the challenge is always going to be on the focus being on us and not really what we're seeing week to week. It's just improving the technique, fundamentals, and the details. The scheme is what the scheme is going to be.
And again, that was Bret Beherns and Ryan Walters. We'll send it over to Bret Beherns now and Jeremy Werner back to Memorial Stadium. Guys, I don't know if you heard Andy, but he said that he's going over to a pig roast. Bret, I know you like pork a lot, so you're probably a little jealous there in Memorial Stadium. But guys, let's break this one down a little bit. Let's maybe dive into UTSA a little bit more. They have some stars on that team, and I think maybe especially their running back group, I think that could pose a big threat for Illinois. Bret.
No doubt the defense is going to have to step up. But first to that pig roast, I hope Andy brings us some in. I don't know what they got in the press box up there, Jeremy, but it's not pig roast. I know that much.
Yeah,
today.
Well, you're the expert griller smoker.
I do love to smoke some good meats, but I am jealous of Andy out there in that tailgate. So, Andy, bring us some in here. But for the Illini to succeed today, and really, I don't know if you're going to stop Sincere McCormick maybe just try and limit him a little bit. What did you take away from the run defense last week, though? And especially against Adrian Martinez, you take out that 75-yard run, and you feel like they did a pretty good job, I think.
I thought it was a great job, especially relatively to what we've seen. Illinois, the last 4 years under Lovie Smith, have been the worst rushing defense in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They looked like a really, really competent crew. Like Nebraska doesn't have the best rushing attack the last couple of years, but they've been pretty effective, and they've run all over Illinois, no matter what team they were playing from, Nebraska. So I thought to limit them to 3.7 yards per carry, and most of that coming on one big run where there's a missed assignment. I just thought they played sound football, and I thought it was a great game plan by Ryan Walters. And I think it's going to be a similar game plan today where you have a dual-threat quarterback who struggles a bit with downfield passing, so you risk a little bit, right? You go man-to-man, and we saw some breakdowns for Illinois that Adrian Martinez wasn't able to take advantage of, but they completely shut down the Nebraska running attack. The running backs had 40 yards on 19 carries. I'd expect a similar game plan today against Harris, who's not that accurate of a passer, a running back you're concerned about in Sincere McCormick. And I think Illinois has the advantage in that front seven. I think they played extremely well against Nebraska. All the credit to UTSA and all the respect to them. But Nebraska has more talent up front. So I think the trenches are where Illinois can really win this game.
No doubt about it. We see some of the specialists coming on the field right now. However, countdown to kickoff at 70 minutes exactly here inside Memorial Stadium, where the rain is starting to come a little bit more heavy, and maybe that plays into the run game for both of these teams as well to really limit the passing. But like you mentioned, if Illinois can try and bottle them up in the box, then force Frank Harris to throw, maybe get some interceptions. We saw Devin Witherspoon last week had several PBUs, really put the pressure on that defense. And overall, though, you feel great about it. The one difference, Jeremy, you lose Calvin Hart Jr. He's out for the year now. And after an impressive first game with Illinois, you don't have him. Now, they do have the depth there, but how that kind of mixes will be something to watch here.
Yeah, I mean, you feel great about Jake Hansen, middle linebacker.
Who had a quiet game, 5 tackles, that's it.
Quiet for Jake, and that was a great thing for his team because the rest of his teammates were playing extremely well. Listen, we know Tariq Barnes can play. He's coming back from injury. We'll see how he looks, but he played a lot last week. We know Kalen Tolson can play. He's a different player, though, than C.J. Hart. I thought C.J. was a huge athletic upgrade for Illinois. He's also very big. He's bigger than the other guys, especially Kalen Tolson. So it's one position you feel like you have some depth. It's kind of like running back on the other side of the ball. You feel like you have some depth at inside linebacker. They've raved about Alec McCarron, a walk-on, and I'm interested to see if Shimon Cooper moves back inside if they need some more depth after moving to the outside linebacker. But it's one position you feel good about. I will say, though, you do risk when you go man-to-man and kind of do the same game plan, you risk breaking down if you get beat one-on-one. And UTSA does have some players who can beat you one-on-one. Zachary Franklin, I watched some games. He's really impressive, number 4 on UTSA. He can get going. They got some big tight ends, not as athletic as Illinois', but they have some downfield options, including Trayvon Bradley's a Houston transfer. So they could make you pay if Frank Harris is accurate today.
And then on the other side, if you can establish the run as Illinois, you feel really successful to get some sustained drives, really rely on that running back depth, which we saw last week, and 5 guys in there getting rotations with Chase Brown supposedly back to 100%, healthy now, not limited to 5 carries last week. I think that was it for him. So if Illinois can establish the run and then limit the run and force them to pass on the other side, I think that's a pretty good game plan for success, Marlee.
All right, guys, and we'll hear from some of the players coming up right now on that defense a little bit and what they are going to do this game to have a little bit of success. Check it out.
You know, having 5 sacks, you know, and 3 or 4 in the D tackle room, you know, just shows how much work and how much work and time we put in.
We show that we're a good team, and with the right technique and coaching, anything's possible. But just moving forward, focus on UTSA.
And that was Keith Randolph and Owen Carney Jr. there for the Illini. Guys, you mentioned the weather maybe playing a little bit of a factor into this game, and specifically maybe we'll see a little bit more of the run game going on both sides for Illinois and UTSA tonight. Guys, what do you think about this Illinois running back group right now? Because we saw probably all 5 of them get involved last week, and I mean, I know Art Sikowski is going to be the guy for Illinois today, but can Illinois have some confidence in that running back room, especially with that kind of rotation that they have going on there. Bret.
Yes, they can rely on that running back room, no doubt about it. And you mentioned the weather. It is starting to rain more right now.
Hood time.
It's hood time. I got my raincoat back here. I'm going to have to go get it here in just a minute, Marlee. This is the heaviest I've seen it pretty much all day here in Champaign. I don't know how that's going to play out. They're going to play the game. I know that much. I don't think it's supposed to have anything severe at this point today. But it is raining the hardest it has right now.
Brett,
so
do you want to go get
of note here as we close in on an hour game time.
Brett, do you want to go grab your raincoat?
This isn't Purdue in 2019.
Minnesota a couple years ago, Marlee.
It was.
You know, Jeremy remembers Minnesota in 2019. It's okay. Purdue was terrible in 2019. We're good. It's as you say that, you know, it's starting to lighten up a little bit here.
Okay.
We're all good.
Sure, because I can turn
Illinois
it over
running
to
back depth.
I can.
No. All right. Well, I want to get to that pork. If Andy's got this pork here in just a moment. But we'll finish the thought. We're all good here. As soon as we say it, you know, it starts to lighten up a little bit. But like we mentioned, Illinois' running back depth. The thing that I really want to see them as well as in establishing the run. Also, I think they can rely on their tight ends today too. Yeah. Look, whoever they play this year, and I don't know UTSA's schedule on the back of my hand, they're not going to see two tight ends like Daniel Barker and Luke Ford. That much I know. And Daniel Barker didn't even have a catch last week. I want to see them get that involvement early and establish it and continue to run those two tight end sets.
Well, here's the thing. We're kind of doing the Lou Henson thing all week of building up the opponent to be the best ever. UTSA's got some issues to work with on Illinois' offense as well, and I think we saw some players break through, Brett, that we've been waiting to break through. Luke Ford doubles his catch total, 3 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown.
Imagine that. He can catch the ball.
Finally, you get him involved. And as you said, I think Daniel Barker is going to be one of the best receivers on this team all year, and he didn't have a catch, but he was great in the run game. They didn't have to throw it a lot last week, and that's what you love. But we also saw a guy number one, right? Isaiah Williams really getting involved. And I think we just saw very vanilla stuff with him until the second half. You saw Tony Peterson get to him. He's going to be the best athlete on the field when UTSA is on defense, so they can get him going as well. I don't know how much Deuce Spann will be involved this week at wide receiver, but you saw that trick. So I'm really interested to see how UTSA combats Illinois' offense as well. And, of course, a lot's going to rely on Art Sikowski taking care of the ball. That's a concern when it gets wet out. It's not for me as much slipping for guys. It's more about the ball security. Fumbles, turnovers, those can really kill you in a game like this and really give confidence to a team like UTSA. So Art Sikowski, the running back, is going to have to take care of the ball. But, you know, he's got some weapons. Illinois definitely has improved its weapons, especially with Isaiah Williams and Luke Ford being a much bigger part of this.
And we've gone this whole time without mentioning the quarterback, and I think that's in large part because of what Art Sikowski did last week. Brandon Peters goes down. Doesn't sound like it's a long-term injury. Bret Beherns said he threw in practice this week, which is a good sign, and it's on his non-throwing shoulder. It's left. If it was his throwing shoulder, I think we'd be talking about a lot longer-term thing here. But for me, the quarterback isn't as big of a story when you have Art Sikowski, and that's why they went out and got him. I feel like he can come in and do an effective job and go win the game for you, or at least put you in a position to let your playmakers win the game. Maybe that's more important.
Yeah, I mean, Artur Sikowski all of a sudden is the most famous guy in Champaign. He's like the fan favorite quarterback now. And, Brandon Peters, I don't know. I think the talk of a quarterback controversy is a little bit early.
Yeah.
But if Artur Sikowski has a big day and Brandon Peters is available next week, I think as a coaching staff, you got to consider it just because Artur played really well last week after getting hit, had the one mistake that got called back. And ever since then, he was efficient. They didn't ask him to do a lot, Brett, but he was effective doing it. Hit a couple deep shots, including the pass to Spann, which we should probably call the art dart. I mean,
I love it.
You saw the talent there. He's got some talent. He had a terrible freshman year, thrown into terrible circumstances at Rutgers, but he's got talent, and they were really smart to go get him and have a credible backup, especially with Brandon Peters, who's had injury issues in the past. Now, this was a fluke injury, but you're one snap away from that all the time. So Art's also one snap away from that. Ryan Johnson seems to be the third-string quarterback, the D2 transfer, but big day for Artur Sikowski, I think, just to show that, hey, he can be the starter on this team. And maybe next week we are talking about, should Sikowski start for Illinois, a chance to go 3-0, or is Peters a no-doubt guy after Art struggled in a loss to UTSA.
Yeah, and if anything, if Brandon does come back and they do go with Brandon, it's an opportunity for Art to show next year that this is his team, that he can walk into camp next year and have that confidence knowing that he will be the guy for Illinois next year. We'll see when that happens.
And for Illinois to know what they got.
Sure.
Bret Beherns said this week, this is the first time I got to see him, with the bullets flying. I think you feel better about that addition and the long term, because Illinois could go right back to the transfer portal to replace Brandon Peters, right? Or they could have their guy in-house in Archer.
Yeah, I think they got to add another quarterback next year, right?
Probably.
You've got your freshman coming in, but I think that they're going to go get a transfer guy just because for this reason right here.
Right.
You just never know what's going to happen. And now the third string quarterback, as Tony Peterson told us earlier this week, is your walk-on. And that's okay in a sense, but you want more than that. All right, Marlee, I want to see if Andy's got this pig roast or what's going on in the tailgate.
Yeah, we'll give you a second to put your raincoat on now, Bret. You guys mentioned Art Sikowski, and Tony Peterson had great things to say about him at this week's press conference. Here's what they had to say about his performance against Nebraska last week.
Art came in. He's got a very strong personality in there. The guys knew from what he had done in camp and from the way that he carries himself, they expected him to come in and play well, and that's what he did.
I've been through a lot at Rutgers. I went through a lot of up and downs, but I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from my failures and my ups and downs, and that's what life's all about. Getting yourself back and going. So I'm just really happy. It was a great team win.
I don't expect it.
All right, Art Sikowski, and offensive coordinator Tony Peterson. He without a doubt showed that he could take care of business against the Huskers. So we'll see if he can do it again today against UTSA University of Texas San Antonio. We're going to check back in with Andy Olson right now. Andy, it looks like you got some food on your plate. What's going on at the tailgate, Andy?
I do, yes, Marlee. We got some tacos right now. I've got some new friends, some old friends from up there as well. I got some new friends around me. What's everyone's names? You go around.
Riley, Phoebe, Aaron, Morgan.
And who we got over here?
Patrick, Nico.
All right, we've got everyone out here. We're still at the big orange and blue bus. We're excited to be tailgating. We got tacos out here right now. Nico's actually making burritos, though. Nico's on his second burrito. He's doing well. I've already had one, and I made another just for show. But I want to ask you guys, what is it like to just be back tailgating again? Last year, nothing happened, and the rain is actually, I believe, slowing down at the moment now. So we're actually under a tent as well. What's it like being back out here, everyone?
Great. It's nice to be able to come out and hang out with our friends and family again and get to see them at the tailgates.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any more to add?
No.
That's it. No more to add. Well, we're here because I wanted to talk about the food. Like Marlee had mentioned, I do have food on my plate. We have some tacos. Like I said, I already had one of these, and they're very good. Does anyone want to talk about what goes into choosing the food? Does anyone know? Nico, you're kind of a little chef down here.
You just kind of it's kind of hard to explain. I don't know.
You said it was snack food?
Yeah. Snack food
like hot dogs, burritos, tacos, hamburgers.
Okay.
Like that hog over there that Toby was talking about.
Toby did mention the hog across the way that we are, I believe, very excited for. But what are some predictions for the game, everyone? First of all, do we think the rain is going to stop, everyone? We got to know.
Hopefully.
It's going to start sprinkling in the middle. It's going to stop, but it's going to start sprinkling.
We have a young Kevin Leidy making weather predictions here right now.
Hopefully, but I'm not thinking so.
We're hoping the rain is going to stop, but we don't think so. We're going to find out. Again, I'm not Kevin Leidy. We may have some young up-and-comers, though, that may have to push him for a job, Marlee. I'm going to keep eating this taco, and we're going to send it back to you because we're getting close to game time, and I need to down this. And we're actually in the way of the tacos, too, so we need to let everyone else get their chance to go get some. So, Marlee, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Andy, thank you so much. I'm going to come back to you real quick. Andy's enjoying that taco over there. We're going to go back to Bret Beherns and Jeremy Werner now at Memorial Stadium for a final check-in. Guys, we've covered a lot leading up to this moment, but Bret, Jeremy, any kind of final thoughts here as we wrap up on the pregame show?
Yeah, Marlee, my final thought here is that whatever Andy has out there looks really, really good. And I'm more hungry now than I was 5 minutes ago. I was not wearing the raincoat earlier, just hoping that the good vibes would happen and that it wouldn't rain. The rain has since ceased since I put it on, so maybe I'll leave it on for a while and it won't rain anymore or not. As more Illini come onto the field here now, looks like running backs there for the orange and blue. As we wrap up here, Jeremy, Vegas doesn't like Illinois. A lot of the national pundits don't like Illinois. How do you feel like this game plays out? Does Illinois come out with a win?
Yeah, I might take the under based on the weather right now. We did see Brandon Peters is going to dress today, but I would very likely expect him not to play.
No.
Art Sikowski, Matt Robinson, Ryan Johnson were out here warming up. I didn't see Brandon Peters out there, but I think Illinois wins this game. I think it'll be a close one. I think if they let UTSA score early, gain some confidence, if they turn the ball over, I think you could be in trouble. But I think Illinois wins in the trenches, and as long as Art Sikowski doesn't turn the ball over, I like the Illini's chances. UTSA deserves all the respect, but I think all of that national media picking UTSA, I wonder, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I wonder if Bret Beherns gave a text to his boy Kirk Herbstreit and said, hey, pick the UTSA so our guys have some locker room material. They should be up for this game. Illinois is not a good enough program yet to overlook any kind of opponent. So I expect Illinois to win this game. I picked 34-20. I'd probably lower that score based on the weather, but I think Illinois wins in the trenches.
Okay. I think Illinois comes out with a win as well. I'm going to say 27-20. I think it's going to be a close game towards the end here. Maybe have Illini Nation a little anxious going into the end here, but we'll see how it plays out. I think the weather could factor into that as well. Establishing the run, making UTSA pass, and really limit their weapons. What else you got on the site leading up to the game here? Or about 55 minutes from kickoff for fans to go check it out.
Got our live updates with quick hits and takeaways right after the game. And, of course, our podcast right afterwards. Get all your reactions. All
right. We'll look for all of that. We'll have a lot of reaction coming up tonight at 10 o'clock as we hope to take a live peek into the post-game press conference with Bret Beherns. We'll do that. I'll be out here live once again on the field at 10 o'clock. Marlee, you'll have all the highlights. Should be a fun night here at Memorial Stadium. Hopefully a good crowd, too, as well. Last week it was the heat. This week it's the rain. If you're still deciding to come out, maybe bring a raincoat in that sense. So for Jeremy Werner, I'm Bret Beherns. Marlee, we'll send it back to you.
All right, guys, thank you so much. And if the tailgate is any indication for what Memorial Stadium will look like, I think there should be a pretty decent crowd out there tonight. The tailgating started at 7 a.m. this morning, so I imagine people have been going for a long time and they're ready to watch some football finally after being out there for so long. Here is the matchup once again. You can watch at 6:40 on Big Ten Network. We're about an hour away from kickoff. Thanks for joining us here on the Your Illini Nation pregame show. Again, as Bret mentioned, you can watch more on WCIA News tonight at 6 and 10. Bret will have another report from Memorial Stadium, as well as highlights coming tonight at 10 o'clock. And Bret Beherns' post-game press conference will also be streamed live wherever you're watching here on Twitter, Facebook, the WCIA 3 app. Again, thank you so much for joining us. For Bret, Jeremy, Andy, I'm Marlee. Thank you so much and have a good night. We'll see you again at 6 and 10.